Hi, I'm Kevin Harrington, an original shark from the hit TV show Shark Tank. Welcome to this edition of Business Icons. Now I have two special guests, John Goodhue and Brian Gray. Thanks for being with us today, guys.
No, thanks.
How you
Thank
doing?
you for having us.
Super.
Yeah.
Now, you're both nationally recognized authors, speakers, and wealth advisors. But I want to start with asking you, who do you actually help on a day-to-day basis inside your business?
Sure. And we primarily focus on business owners, professionals, and business executives. We also like women on their own.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Entrepreneurs, too.
Right,
You know,
entrepreneurs,
guys like
yes.
me,
Oh,
maybe. Huh?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we
Yeah.
focus on trying to be specialists in retirement planning because so many people focus on different things, but we really want to focus and narrow down what is their final piece they want to accomplish.
And so on that note, what would you say that these people are actually looking for? What do they want?
Well, there's really three main things, but the first one is peace of mind. You know, they really want the peace of mind to actually have a lifestyle without limits versus a lifestyle with boundaries.
Okay,
Right.
that's a good.
Right. And, you know, and the
Peace
other
of
one-
mind, that's a great
Oh,
one.
peace of mind. I mean, I think that's what everybody wants. I don't care how much money you have, really.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes to. We're all human.
Right.
So that's what we all really
You can have a
truly
lot of
want.
money, but maybe you don't have peace of mind.
Oh,
So,
there's a lot
you
of
know,
stress out there.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's kind of that sleep through the night piece.
I got you.
Absolutely.
I
Kind of
like
the
that.
idea.
That's great.
Yeah.
The other thing is freedom, and freedom in the rest of their life. You know, people are now, we're living longer.
Right.
We've got 20, 30 years in retirement. And so we like to help people really live a free life. They're not looking at their retirement, watching it, worried about it. We're kind of setting them free to just really enjoy stuff.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Well, our big thing is if the hardest thing we have to do when we started our practice 10 years ago, we never even dreamed of this. It's really, really hard to get savers to spend their money. I mean,
so
Interesting.
hard.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
it
is.
is. Yeah, they
Yeah.
can have money, they've got good income plan,
Right.
but ultimately what it comes down to is the freedom to be able to spend it without confidence, or with the confidence.
With the
to do that.
confidence
Yeah,
to know
because-
that it's going to last all the way through, right?
That's
You
a
know?
big fear. So we want
Yeah.
people to have that freedom to have control. But the third thing is ultimately so they can make a difference. And what we see is they want to make a difference with their family, with charities, the local community.
Yeah, that's
And-
important that they
Absolutely.
engage with charities.
Well, we
also,
and
right?
we think that in general, it's more important to pass on charitable assets to
Right.
children and grandchildren
Yeah.
than it is
to teach
money.
them early on,
Absolutely,
right? Yeah.
because it brings out it just fulfills their life more.
Right.
We just found that that's a really important part.
Now, you mentioned you started the business 10 years ago, but so tell me how it all came to be for you guys to get into this business.
Absolutely. Well, it was, for both of us, it's really a couple personal pain with our families, and I'll let John start with his.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a lawyer by training, and and I grew up in a kind of
You're a recovering lawyer?
Yeah,
kind of
recovering
thing, right?
lawyer. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. But it really goes back to my parents. My parents, my dad was a long haul truck driver. My mom was a stay-at-home mother, and they didn't have a lot except my dad was a Teamster, and he had a really, really good pension. And what happened? He retired about 65, and he didn't ask me. My dad, your parents think that you don't know anything, even though I was a practicing attorney at the time.
Right.
But it's when he retired, he got some really bad advice, and he took his pension with a single payout his lifetime.
Right.
And so he died 4 years later of cancer.
Okay.
My mom lost their really only true asset, which was their income, and so that was horrible.
Wow.
And so I saw that happen, and then as an attorney, I would see people getting really bad financial advice.
Sure.
And it would hurt them in lots of different ways. And
Yeah.
so I decided that when we decided to go into this business, I decided that I wanted to focus, and we wanted to focus with Brian's story on retirement planning, because people don't get good advice in retirement.
They really don't, because in my situation, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer back in 1987 and recurred in 1991. So my parents knew they weren't going to have a long life together.
Right.
So we sacrificed a lot of things to get them to be able to save a lot of money. And ultimately, my dad retired early at 55 in 1999, but what happened that next year? We had the technology crash.
Sure,
Well,
right.
We had the big crash, so he wound up going back to work, and retired at 62 in 2006, and then the financial crisis hit a year later.
Right.
So we find a lot of people fall into
When
that.
you have one that's surviving the other for many years,
Oh, absolutely.
my father lived for 15 years longer than my mother, and so
Absolutely.
it's important for that planning to take place ahead of time,
It
right?
really does, because
Yeah.
what we realize is we want people not to miss their bucket list window.
Bucket list window. That's a good term.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we focus on is really trying to make people realize that they might have a long life left, but it may not be all good years together.
Well, I like both of you got into the business based on challenges that existed within your own families, right? So you saw the problem, the needs, and then kind of said, I want to be a solution provider to the rest of the market, because if it happened inside your family, this must be happening in many other families
all across America.
All across America, right? So what would you say some of the big challenges are that I'm an entrepreneur, other entrepreneurs, but others that are not entrepreneurs, but what are the challenges that your clients are facing?
Sure, and we actually have written a white paper on that. There's really 12 big topics. We don't have enough time here to talk about that today. But 2 or 3 of them, we've talked about one, really the fear of running out of money.
Fear of running out of money.
And because it is the number one fear every year that they do surveys. And that's people's fear. They're not going to have enough. They're going to live too long.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they want to be able to play golf or something if they want. To get extravagant, but to still enjoy their life. Obviously, right?
That fear, and most people start with goals, but we like to start with vision.
Right.
Because once we help them establish the vision of what they want retirement to look like, then we set priorities and what they want to accomplish, and then ultimately set those goals so they can actually create their vision.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the second one, I think that, and most people don't think enough about this, are taxes.
Oh, okay.
People in retirement,
that's a big issue.
They pay too much in taxes generally. They don't think about it. There's not very many professionals like CPAs generally don't do forward tax planning.
Right.
And so we help people try to save as much as possible. And our favorite thing really is to take money away from the IRS and give it to people's families and charities. And that way we're funding it more for the family, more for charities, get back to the big impact piece of what we talk about. And that's kind of that's a huge one. It's just not enough focus on that.
Right.
No, there is, and really the third one is healthcare.
Right.
Healthcare.
Because you never know if one of us is going to get sick, or they're going to die too soon. So we really try to focus on making sure when we're doing planning is we get the right amount of money to the right people at the right time.
Gotcha.
And ultimately with that is you never know with healthcare, because there's a lot of surprises that come out.
So you help them in choosing these plans and
Right, and then also, it's not just your medical insurance. For most people, it's Medicare.
Right.
And we work with Medicare brokers, professionals that know how to do all that. That's very, very important. It's also the coverage of long-term care.
Right.
About 80% of us are going to need it because we're living longer. And so most people think there's one way to get long-term care. People sometimes don't like to even talk about it.
Right.
There are really 8 or 9 different ways to get it, and many better than traditional long-term care.
Right.
But it's such a huge problem for people. I mean, Fidelity says that in retirement years we're going to spend at least $250 in a couple. I think it's more than that for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So really covering that is really, really important. A big piece.
What age do people need to be planning for retirement?
Right now, as early as possible.
The sooner the better.
Sooner the better.
We find a lot of people get a later start on it because all of a sudden, when we're in 40s and 50s, getting the kids through college and high school, ultimately people start realizing that, oh wow, now I start thinking about retirement, but they really should start planning way ahead, well before kids are out of college.
I love the background of the tag team here. You're a lawyer, but now Brian, where did you start?
I actually spent quite a bit of years in commercial and residential lending before doing this. So,
okay, good. So you're a finance guy.
Absolutely.
Then,
so finance degree.
You got a good brain trust here. Legal, finance, 10 years together. Tell me about the pluses of the group here. You do a kind of a glove fits the hand kind of thing between you?
We do. We generally meet with people we're talking with together.
Right.
And that way we bring our strengths together. So it's kind of that 1 + 1 = 5 kind of thing.
I like that.
We're a team. That's how we approach everything.
We focus the firm because we've got a lot of good support on the team, and we've got a really great team with our firm.
That's fantastic. So we've talked about, you said the 12 steps that people need to know about. You shared several of them, I think 3. So anyone that's listening might want to know about the other things they need to do. Tell anyone out there, how can they reach you and maybe find out more about the next steps.
Actually, it's quite simple. We made it real easy for people. They can go to our website, apofinancial.com.
Okay.
We put together a retirement action kit, and ultimately they can even email us at info@apofinancial.com, so that way that we can email them the information as well.
Okay. Well, it was great having you guys, John Goodhue,
Thank you
Brian
so much,
Gray.
Kevin.
Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here today,
Appreciate
and
it.
thanks for listening and being here for this episode of Business Icons.